I've spent the last few years researching and optimizing my environments and building systems and a way to be as focused as possible. I've read various books on deep work and focus, and in this video I'll simplify it for you so that you can finally get things done. So number one, clarity is required. What that means is you need to have a clear and actionable understanding of what you're going to do, not only throughout your day, but throughout the specific tasks at hand. The reason you wake up and you're a feather in the wind and you don't really get anything done for a long time and you procrastinate for so long, it's because you've got too much ambiguity. So what you want to do is plan your days out the night before and have specific goals and tasks that you have in mind, and also have specific times you're going to eat, sleep, go to the gym and work. So what that does is, instead of just being all over the place, you have specific times to do things, and that way you'll be way more productive, and eventually your hormones will also be aligned with that and it'll just feel natural. But secondly, when it comes to your work, you want to have specific tasks, like have a notebook or have a planner out and basically just write out what you want to do for the session and the goal in mind. For example, if you're a student and you're revising for an exam, you might have maybe 10 different topics to go through. You might only get 1 or 2 topics done within a day. For your working, studying hours, what you'll do is you'll set one topic for like the first 2 hours, and then you'll take a break, and then later on you can do the next topic. And obviously for your business, it's the same concept. You might have meetings at a certain time, you might have content to make, you might have outreach to do and coaching calls or whatever. You want to specifically plan them out and know exactly what you're going to do at any given time. Number 2, focus is the absence of distraction. So I've talked about this multiple times on my channel before if you want to go through those videos, but to sum it down to you, focus isn't about adding rituals, it's not about adding music, it's not about adding more, productivity devices or new apps and trying a new browser like the Arc browser. None of this is productivity or focus. Focus is the absence of distraction. So what that means is when you remove every single distraction, that is how you become focused by default. So you want to have your notifications off completely. You want to have your phone in a different room. You don't want to have multiple apps open. You just want to have the 1 or 2 things that you're working on, and everything else gets removed. And even on your apps at the bottom of the screen, you want to remove them all except for like 1 or 2 main ones, and the other ones you can just search the app and open them up when you need them. You want to be very minimal and specific and just embrace simplicity, because that allows you to be way more focused. Number 3 is you want to get into a flow state, and that is kind of like the deep work thing that I was talking about earlier. Deep work, flow state, whatever way you want to talk it, but there's different stages to it and also different ways to enter it. People think that you can't enter it unless it just happens randomly, but there's specific things that you can do to enter it at a consistent rate. And not only is it addictive and it makes you want to work more because you want to constantly get back into that state, one thing you want to do is have a timer on your desk and have a specific time for when you want to do your sessions. I'd recommend 1 to 2 hours and then take a break. Pomodoro technique is absolutely bullshit. If you need a break every 25 minutes, it's absolutely not true. It disrupts your focus completely and it's not scientific whatsoever. And if you do more research on this topic, you'll realize it's just not true. Whether it's the best guitarists, the best athletes, the best directors, the best writers, everybody does multiple hours in a single stretch and they become increasingly more focused and in a flow state. And that is the biggest benefit of the flow state. You do multiple hours and it doesn't feel that long. You don't get distracted every 25 minutes to take a 5-minute break, because you'll never get into that state. So continuing on with that, the level of difficulty, it can't be too difficult, but it can't be too easy, because then when it's too easy you get bored, when it's too difficult you get frustrated. So it needs to be a level of difficulty that is just in between so that you can enjoy it and have fun. Another great benefit of the flow state is you can get a 2 to 10x increase in productivity. Discipline is required and you need to embrace the boredom, but eventually you will start to get addicted to this state and you will crave it often. And that is how these top performers, these top entrepreneurs, they are able to do so much work on a daily basis, is because of this flow state and because of how low their dopamine levels are. So the stages of the flow state, the first one is struggle. So this is the first 15 to 25 minutes. It's going to be boring, it's going to be difficult, and every single time you want to do the work, it's going to be a struggle, but you have to go through that phase, because then stage 2 is the release, and you release all the cortisol and these other chemicals within your brain, and it starts to get less difficult. Stage 3 is the flow state, which hours feel like minutes, and you get a huge amount of productive work done. And stage 4 is recovery after your flow state sessions. This is where you don't get distracted by like Instagram and instant gratification. You want to recover through exercise and meditation and just socializing and being light on your brain. So you shouldn't get distracted during those first 25 to 30 minutes, because that's when the flow starts. And every time you get interrupted by your phone or a notification or checking up on Twitter for no reason or going on to ChatGPT for no reason, that is when your flow state gets completely cut off and you have to start that 25-30 minute cycle again from scratch. Number 4 is diet. You want to have a clean diet, and if you actually experiment with this, if you eat sugar and then try to work immediately, you'll get a sharp crash because it spikes your blood sugar levels and it steeps below baseline. And what that does is it becomes very difficult. You feel sluggish, lethargic, and tired. You don't want to do the work. So optimizing your diet and avoiding carbs and sugars until later on in the day, or cutting them out completely, improves your focus and productivity by a huge amount. So don't try to do your work after having lunch and eating carbs or a sandwich. Don't try to do your work after eating a bunch of sugar or snacks. It's just not going to work. And number 5 is dopamine detox, and also just having a level of discipline. Discipline is required. Some days you're not going to want to do the work at all, but we can't rely on motivation. We have to be disciplined and follow the routine, follow the set out tasks that are at hand, and kind of just force yourself to do it. Sometimes you have to command your body without thinking and just do it. And then the dopamine part, we need to remove instant gratification from our life and limit it drastically if there's any that you do keep. So I don't watch YouTube anymore. I use it in a very limited manner, and I've got no distractions, there's no comments, there's no sidebar. I can only search up specific videos that I want to watch, and it's all productivity based. There's no entertainment. And even with that being the case, I still don't watch it that often at all. Secondly, social media, I've removed all of them. I don't have time for all of this short form content and impulses. You resist the impulses, and over time it becomes easier for you to resist them, and eventually you'll stop even getting the impulses completely. So you want to focus on delayed gratification. You want to have more silence throughout your day, more boredom, and just do more stuff like working and hitting the gym, and delayed gratification, spending time with family, socializing. Reading books is one of the biggest ones and the most beneficial ones, because you have to focus on a specific thing and read the words and read the paragraphs without getting distracted, and it's delayed gratification with very limited dopamine spiking. So yeah, dopamine detox is the solution to your problems. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.